So I think China right now is on the brink of a massive shitstorm, and I don't think they have a choice. They're absolutely in a double-edged sword situation. They're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, and it's coming out of left field. Nobody saw this coming. So what I'm referring to, of course, is the Evergrande crisis. Now, if you read or listen to mainstream media about the Evergrande crisis, well, this is basically a 9th grade level bullshit. I mean, it's very easy to understand. It's regurgitated. It's shallow. They absolutely don't want to do any actual analysis or work in mainstream media. But why would they? They have all these free views. I, on the other hand, I actually want to show you behind the scenes, inside the engine, what's really going on, and why I think the shitstorm I was referring to has already begun. Now, here's the story. Evergrande, in case you haven't heard about it, it's a Chinese company engaged in a lot of different things, among others, real estate development. And so far, they've accumulated 300 billion and change of debt, which they seem not be able to actually service. Basically, in other words, they're screwed. They have a lot of debt, they can't seem to repay it, and now they have basically two choices. One is to go belly up and say, hey, Tayo. Or the other, go to the government and say, hey, help us, because, I mean, it's your problem. You know this joke about a guy who owes $1 million to the bank? Well, that's his problem. But if that guy owes 100 million to the bank, it's the bank's problem. So this is what I think the Evergrande people are basically banking on. Basically, the Chinese government saying, well, we have to bail you out. But that whole story, you already heard on mainstream media. In this video, I want to go deeper and I want to show you why I think the company has already started liquidating and nobody's telling you jack shit about it. So here's the story. Just a few minutes ago, and this is what triggered this video, I actually opened up Reuters and I saw that they have an article, brief article, couple of lines just saying, hey, a few minutes ago, we found out that Evergrande has started to offer this plan. If you're in their wealth management products and they owe you money, they offering people to take apartments, car parks, office space, basically giving away real estate to people they owe money to instead of giving them cash, which is by definition, the definition of liquidation. So Reuters just reported about this just a few minutes ago, so there's no denial, no confirmation from this company, but it seems that Reuters kind of did their homework and they found a lot of documents that pointing out to this. Now, check this out. The problem with this situation is as follows. Now, if you're dealing with a liquidation type of event, it has a lot of repercussions about the market. We're talking about a company with 300 billion in debt and a lot of trickle-down effects. So what's going to happen right now? This company is coming up to their pretty much investors and whoever they owe money to and basically saying, well, here's this real estate, which we can't sell. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this situation. Obviously, we can't move this real estate. So would you take this real estate instead of the money we owe you? So obviously, if you were in the shoes of somebody who was owed money from Evergrande, you wouldn't take it so easily. I mean, would you take a piece of real estate nobody wants to buy? Well, you would, but you would require a serious discount to accept that as a payment, which is exactly what's going to happen. According to what I read in Reuters, it seems to be right now at about the 25%, maybe even a little bit more of a discount, which they're offering all these assets to these potential people, right? And I think the price will keep coming down. So people at some point will actually take real estate. If the discount is big enough, they'll take real estate. So what's going to happen? You have $8 billion, give or take, maybe between $6 and $8 billion of money they owe to wealth management programs, which is retail investors, regular Joes like you and me, who they owe money to. So right now, this plan seems to be going just towards these wealth management clients. So we're talking about $6 to $8 billion of real estate being flooded into the market by Evergrande at basically basement bottom prices. Everything is in a huge discount. So they're flooding right now the market with all of this cheap real estate at floor prices, which is obviously going to crash even more the embattled real estate market in China. Flooding the market, which already is in a deep shit situation with all of these apartments, office buildings, car parks at a massive discount, is going to absolutely crash the Chinese economy. They can't let it happen. So here's the kicker. Here's the interesting question. So if the Chinese government cannot allow this to happen, what will they do? Is this not proof that the Chinese government will bail these guys out? Not necessarily, because here's the interesting story about the Chinese government. They have a political problem, let's put it this way. If they bail out these rich bankers like the Americans did with, the American bank system in 2008, they're no better than the Americans. Now, also you have to understand in China, the whole narrative of the rich against the poor, and financial fraud, the government basically is tied. They can't bail them out without basically looking like a bunch of hypocrites in front of the people they're trying to convince of this equilibrium, egalitarian society they're trying to create. It's going to be a counterproductive act. So the government is dying to bail them out, but they can't. Obviously, they can't have also this real estate market actually go crashing down. So what will they do? I think what we're about to see in China right now is a very kind of a hybrid situation. So the government will not officially announce a bailout. They cannot politically. But what they'll do, and this is just my theory, again, my opinion, might be wrong, might be inaccurate, might be the ramblings of madmen. Do your own research. I'm just speculating. So what I think the Chinese government might do here is this hybrid. Well, they're going to divide the debt into two sectors. One sector is going to be the foreign debt. One sector is going to be the local debt. Now, the local debt, they're not going to bail out Evergrande, but I think they're going to put a lot of heat on the banks, on the Chinese banks, to basically give extensions, essentially cause Evergrande to be able to repay this by improving the payment terms, delaying the payment terms, basically even repaying the loans through these banks directly so that Evergrande doesn't have to. They're going to do a lot of gymnastics to cause these banks not to say that Evergrande is defaulting on these loans. Again, just speculating. And they can do it with a lot of different indirect kind of products. However, they have literally no incentive to do this for the foreign banks. One, it's going to come out and everybody's going to know about it, which is going to blow the lid of this whole theory. But number two, why would they? I mean, they've been very adamant about screwing the foreign investors in China. So what I think they're going to do is going to indirectly bail out the Chinese money by basically going directly to the banks and the lenders and whatnot and talking to them and making it basically go away. And they're going to stiff all the Westerners. Everybody who's not Chinese are going to get stiffed by Evergrande, and it is what it is. But and again, I'm just kind of speculating. Maybe they repay everything. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But if China doesn't do anything about it, they just let Evergrande start flooding the market with all of this real estate they have at a massive discount, it's going to crush the Chinese economy. And then it's not about trickle-down effects, people losing jobs and whatnot. This is going to be a massive dump of real estate. So I think the next week is going to be very interesting because we have a very interesting Mexican standoff here. I think Evergrande is basically saying they'll start repaying with real estate is a signal to the government. Well, if you're not going to bail us out, we're going to screw you. And I think it's really interesting to see what the reactions of the government will be. It's very touch and go. This week is actually where a lot of these coupons come up. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. If you think I have no idea what I'm talking about, let me know below and I'll see you tomorrow.